Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inside Gamescast for October 3rd. It's 8:59 in the PM. This is a fun time. Just before 9 o'clock, anything can still happen in the day. But in about 60 seconds, you're going to have to start. It's the downslide toward the bedtime hours. You're going to have to make some very critical decisions.
Boy, Lawrence, you underestimate me. My bedtime hours are around 2 a.m. So 9 p.m. is when I'm just getting started.
Man, you still got that. Are you in a schedule now? I know your life has been pretty disrupted due to babies and such.
Yeah, disrupted is funny. That's a funny word. Yeah, I don't know about in a schedule. Like things like will just pop up. Like generally we kind of know the evening is family time, but you just never know what's going to happen at family time, Lawrence. You just never know. It could be anything. It could be like she's doing great and we go and have dinner and everything's fine. Or it could be she's got a fever, she's coughing, we need to suck some mucus out of her nose. I mean, it could literally be anything. I mean, this is what happens when, I mean, everybody, if you've raised a kid, you know, this is the way it is. So I don't, I'm not complaining. It's just more of this, just how it is.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. That's a whole different world.
It is.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to pack that, stow it away, because it's a different world than video games, and that's why we're here.
So video games are the most important thing in the world, Lawrence. We need to talk about video games.
Thank you for following me on that one. I guess much in the way that your child is the sequel to you, Bruce, we both have played sequels to beloved video games. This is a neat little segue, right?
That was a good segue.
Yeah. We both got to go to an Alan Wake 2 preview event, and then I got to go to a Dragon's Dogma 2 preview event, which is very, very important to me because I love that game. But I actually didn't get to play much of Alan Wake 2, so I was curious to ask you about it. I got to attend the first part where they did some talking and a Q&A and stuff, which was really cool. It was cool to be in the room with Sam Lake and all the performers and stuff. Now, for the game itself, though, what do you think about it? I'm sure you've talked about this a bit on your stream and stuff like that.
I have.
I haven't been able to ask you yet, so I want to know.
Before I even say what I thought of Alan Wake, Lawrence, did you go up to Sam Lake and put your hair together with Sam Lake? Because you both have perfect hair.
Oh,
you both have perfect hairs. So did you guys rub hair? Because then it would have formed the most perfect hair.
I don't know that I'm allowed to approach him so brashly. He'd have to summon me, and then I would approach him with humility, and I'd basically like crawl forward, slither along the ground until he like beckoned me to stand, and then I'd be crying, of course. I'm upselling it pretty hard here.
He seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, Alan Wake 2, yes, I played it. I played it for about 3 hours. I had to leave and do real life stuff, which sucks, because I was playing. There is a section where you are Alan Wake, and I think that was probably my favorite part of this gameplay. But I'll start with the Saga mission. Saga's the FBI agent, or I guess I think she's pretty sure she's an FBI agent, but she's like in a Scandinavian country exploring this trailer park, and she keeps running into people in the mission that know her, and she doesn't know any of them. So they're always like, hey, what are you doing around here? Your trailer's right over there. Like, I haven't seen you in a year or whatever. And she's like, I've never met any of these people. So she's sort of going along with it and being like, oh, I'm just right down the way. It's been a long time. But in her head, she's dialoguing, being like, I have never met these people. So she has to go through this really creepy amusement park called Coffee World, where
I'm all about that, by the way. The logo's fantastic.
It's great.
It's a little great coffee carafe, man. I can't.
It's pretty amazing. It's funny because I was like, this seems so stupid, but somebody reminded me that there is like Hershey World or whatever.
And also, I think Finland is the #1 nation in the world for coffee consumption.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I may have made that up. Let me see here.
Yeah. Either way, it's not out of the realm of possibility to be in a coffee world. So what is it? What's the verdict on the #1 coffee drinking nation?
By bags, it's the U.S., and I don't know why it's by bags. Maybe there's some sort of per capita that's sorted by. Here we go. Okay. All right. Most coffee per person, kilograms per year. 12 kilograms per year per person in Finland.
There you go.
The #1.
All right. So that makes sense. Coffee world makes sense. So it's really creepy. Saga keeps running into shadow people. And this is sort of your first introduction to the combat of the shadow people, which is hit them with a flashlight. It breaks their darkness shield, and then you can shoot them with a gun. And she doesn't know why this is happening. Like, she has no inkling. She just has to sort of get through this. And the reason she's getting through this at all is to get a key to a trailer in the trailer park that is supposedly hers.
Okay.
So she has to find this key, and this key is like hidden way back into Coffee World. And I've been calling it the Quest Spaghetti, because meaning it's you go in, you have to get this key, right? So you walk into Coffee World. Oh, the door's locked. Well, is it a key? No, it's not a key. You got to find a screwdriver. So you find a screwdriver to bust open the door, and then inside the door there's a safe, and you got to figure out the code to the safe. And then you figure out the code to the safe, and once you get the safe, it's like it's the spaghetti of quest lines that all unravel and then sort of come back together to get the key. Anyways, it's very much like Resident Evil or something like that. So you get the key, you come back to the trailer, you open it up. There's a bunch of stuff about your daughter in the trailer, and there's like newspaper clippings about how your daughter drowned, but her daughter's alive, and it's super like creepy and fun and like kind of Lost-esque, where there's all of these like mysteries just keep hitting you in the face and you have no idea what's going on. And I don't know where this mission lies in the full game. I think you may know this better than I would, because I wasn't there at the beginning. Did they say where the saga mission falls in the context?
Pretty vague. They just kind of established the sort of the players. That
Okay.
there's like local police who are kind of part of this weird mystery. There's Saga, the FBI agent, who comes in and is like trying to figure this out without the understanding that it is supernatural. And then later on, apparently, an agent from the Bureau of Control swoops in and is like,
Oh.
that was the reveal in the part before you got there, I think, is that
Cool.
Janina is actually playing a FSB agent FSB? Well, anyway, Bureau of Control agent that shows up and is like kind of partners with Saga to sort of tackle this issue because she has more knowledge about what's going down. So that's kind of cool. So they kind of made it sound like there's a layer to it that is sort of like jurisdictional. There's like crime drama in there somewhere. I don't know if you saw any of that, of the character conflicts or anything.
I think like that boiled down to the stuff that Saga was finding in her trailer. Where that felt to me more like she's trying to solve a mystery of, number one, why she doesn't know anybody, even though they keep referring to her as somebody they know. And number two, there is the cult of the tree. And the cult of the tree is, it's like the people that you see in those deer hats. Mm-hmm. You kind of see them around and see a lot in the imagery for this game, but the cult of the tree is this cult that's operating in and around Coffee World and the city called Watery. And she's unraveling the mystery of the cult in addition to these supernatural monsters. And my theory is that the cult of the tree is like figuring out ways to turn people into shadow people and give them those powers so that they can then, do the cult's dastardly deeds.
Huh.
And so that's the other latter half of the gameplay of Saga is she's like discovering this parade float that has like these horrible cult rituals on it. That's kind of like it looks like a child's parade float, but it's super disgusting. And then also throughout the entire gameplay, Saga's mission, she keeps referring to Alan Wake because she knows that what she's doing is in the story of Alan Wake. So she's aware that Alan Wake wrote this story. She refers to it a couple of times. So she knows that there's something in the story but she doesn't know if she's playing it out, if she's stuck in it, or if this is somebody that's like a copycat killer.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
So in the original Alan Wake, Alan would find pages about Alan doing stuff, right? He would find pages describing literally what he's doing in that moment. So if Saga is aware of an Alan Wake story that is what's happening, is Saga also in that story, the written part of it that it's coming from,
In one part, she finds a page that is Wake's story, and it's referring to her.
Okay.
So she knows, again, that there's a story that is sort of outlining what's happening to her. But I don't. I by the way, just this is coming from somebody who's never played Alan Wake. I've never played Alan Wake. I don't know any Alan Wake lore, the first Alan Wake. So I'm just sort of like piecing together what I got from the gameplay.
Okay.
And I kind of like that. I would rather not go read up on lore yet. I want to play the game and then come back to it. But that's what I'm getting from this story, is that she knows this is Alan Wake's story that he's written, but I don't think she knows that Alan Wake is in danger. So this is, I'll segue to the next part of this gameplay, which is Alan Wake. This is where it gets really meta. Alan Wake is now fighting his way through the dark place, and he's like, I think you told me this, he's stuck in the dark place like from 13 years previous in the first Alan Wake, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So he is still stuck there. And he's figuring out who's keeping him there and how does he get out. And so, and this stuff is super stylized and really meta and thoroughly confusing. There was, I'll attempt to describe a few of the game mechanics. One of them was he had a clicker, which was this thing that sucks in a light, and he would walk up to a light and he'd click it and it would bring the light into his wand, but it would change the environment. So he would have to figure out how to change the environment to get around, a staircase or get into a door or something like that. It's a really interesting way of like totally mind fucking you, because you don't know where you are, and then you click it and then it would change your environment. You're like, is this good or bad? Do I need to do this? Should I not do this? Like sometimes it would teleport you from the future to the past, or the past to the future, or like, who knows? But it's all inside Alan's head. And that was the other part. I thought this was the most exciting part for me, was playing through this, because they were throwing so much lore at me in that. I was like, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. I just know that he's clearly trying to get out of the story that he wrote. There's even more, but I feel like it's super boring if you're not like actually watching the gameplay. But
okay, that's all really interesting, because I have some theories or curiosities.
Hit me with them. Yeah, hit me with them. I love it.
The chief one that you may have leaned into is, and this is kind of related to some observations we had about maybe some of the performances or portrayals or even writing of some of the characters in Alan Wake 2. It's become my emergent theory that Saga is a character inside of Alan Wake's story, which is to say she's not human. She may not have a soul. She may just be a player. And that kind of, like in Alan Wake 1, you didn't go into anyone else's perspective, even though there were other characters in that universe kind of reacting to things. I think you had a manager named Barry, who was kind of a little Joe Pesci dude who was always squealing and running around. Weird chemistry there. But like Barry was reacting to things as though it was a horror movie going on. But you never picked, like, I don't know. It was always presumed that Alan Wake was maybe his friends maybe got drawn into the dark place or anything like that. But so now I'm curious about Saga, because if we're like seeing the narrative from the perspective of the characters and playing as them, then that can lead to some interesting moments where Saga has to confront the fact that she's not real and she may cease to exist when the narrative finally concludes. Anyway, that's my theory about that.
Yeah, that's a good theory. It sounds like something that could come true, because it could go the other way too, where like all of Saga is real and Alan is right. I mean, this is in my opinion, almost a trope now, but Alan's writing this story that's real life, like that is actually coming true in real life.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there's been a bunch of movies and television stories that have done that. And to me, that's really tropey. So I'm hoping they don't do it that way.
Well, given that it's in the universe of Control, kind of literally anything is possible. Control, did you play Control?
I only played like the first like 8 or 9 hours, but I never beat it. So.
Okay. Well, the premise kind of gives them license to do whatever they want. Okay. It's a very SCP kind of thing. A very Twin Peaks is maybe more where Alan Wake 2 is leaning. But essentially there are like objects of power that just alter the fabric of reality. And the Bureau of Control is the agency that goes out and tries to deal with them, contain them, isolate them, and prevent them from driving people insane, killing massive amounts of people, or just generally destabilizing people's faith in the world.
Cool.
So Alan Wake the entirety of Alan Wake was one of those events.
Oh.
Yeah, it was actually acknowledged in Control DLC. There was one where you actually deal with the Alan Wake issue, or part of it. There's a character that crosses over. So, yeah, it could literally be true, like you're saying, Bruce. It could literally be that the events are happening in the world. One of my second theory, and this one's far more academic, and I'm really curious if this rings any bells for the Alan Wake side of things in 2, is that Alan Wake 1 is an allegory for the creative process.
Okay.
Alan Wake's a writer. He's kind of schlocky. He needs to write his magnum opus for his ego, and he's stuck. He hasn't released a book in a while. He takes his wife to this cabin out in the woods to jog his process, kind of shining territory. His wife falls into the dark place first, or is abducted, and he follows after her to save her or whatever, and then he gets lost in the dark place where he's trapped. He like becomes a character in his own never-ending nightmare of a novel. The way that I kind of read that, and also the way that Remedy games can sometimes be a little snarkily academic, was that his wife was his muse, and when he was parted from her, he was stuck in writer's block.
Makes sense, yeah.
So he's like trapped in this dimension where he's just getting buffeted around to plot events that never really go anywhere, with these shadowy, like misshapen figures that aren't real characters saying inane dialogue that doesn't make any sense. So I'm curious if he's been stuck there for 13 years, and especially with you were talking about some of the meta aspects. Does any of that bear out? Do you feel like that's where that was going, or is he just being assaulted by like random terrible imagery?
Man, that would be awesome. That's a fantastic storyline, Lawrence. I think that if they're doing that, that would be really cool. Because I think that I mean, like, what it could be is the whole thing could be an allegory for, like you said, the creative process and writer's block and stuff. And then Alan Wake 2 is solving writer's block, basically. But we would never know unless they told us at the end of the story, which I would be fine with. That didn't bother me. But
well, I mean, I guess if it ends, then it ends, right? If the
game
story is his novel, then it ending means that he has a novel to sell.
He wrote it, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're doing a lot of work there. It's like when with Shakespeare, when like they'd give you Shakespeare and be like, Shakespeare, there are infinite interpretations of what Shakespeare wrote, and you're just like, oh, like yes, of course we could all sit there and rationalize another interpretation. But if that's really what this is, that sounds really cool. I sort of got the sense that Alan Wake is writing Saga's story, and we're playing out Saga's story, and then once he finishes Saga's story, that's going to wrap up into Alan Wake's world, and it's going to break him out of the dark place. That's what I assumed. It was a very simple, linear, meta story where it's like basically like I finished Saga's story, like you said, it's his novel. Once I finish the novel, I'm done, and I can get out of the dark place, and I made it. And his wife is dead, or his wife is not dead, whatever. But your allegory is way cooler.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the allure, and also maybe the danger of being Twin Peaksy, where weird stuff happens and it's not necessarily all connected or thoroughly explained. Is that jerk-offs like me come along and over-explain stuff and maybe make it seem smarter than it is, but also Remedy games have always had that like smart and stupid in equal measure aspects that I always really appreciated. So I'm excited to see how deep those threads go, if they go. I don't know.
A while back, Lawrence and I watched the Summer Game Fest. We talked about this on a podcast, the Summer Game Fest Alan Wake demo, and both of us were like, that writing was real schlocky. I'm playing this demo, I never had that moment. So I played 3 hours, and there wasn't one time that I was like, yuck, that voice acting was bad, or that the writing was bad. This felt way more television style. This felt on the order of a pretty good television show. Okay. It wasn't nearly as bad as that little demo that we watched a while back.
That's what gets me, and that's what I was kind of stuck in my head, is that the demo was Saga with Alex Casey, who is the performance capture of Sam Lake, but voiced by the same dude who did Max Payne's voice. So it's literally the combo from Max Payne 1 as a character in this game, but also Alex Casey is a character from the Alan Wake books. And it is the copy of Max Payne. They talk about Alex Casey being this hard-boiled detective that can like dive with two guns and slow down time. So that's either a meta acknowledgement or it's a very literal expression that they are characters, like they're the written characters of the book, and you're just playing from their perspective.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, did you see any moment where Saga was like, "Oh my gosh, Alex Casey, you're from the books. That's weird."
Do you want me to?
No, maybe you shouldn't say.
So yeah, I actually shouldn't say, because I think that they wanted me to cut out the stuff that may or may not have had these characters in it.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna tell you where it happened. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. So because I want to make sure that that's something that you don't actually know. I got to tell you, the more that we talk about this, the more I'm excited to play Alan Wake 2. I'm also going to play Alan Wake on stream because I've never played it before.
Nice.
So I'm really excited. I hope it lives up to all this crazy shit that we have in our heads.
Well, you mentioned Lost, Bruce. You seem to have a pretty high tolerance for shows that are just kind of interesting, but kind of vaguely just rattle around.
Absolutely, I do.
Like Leftovers and stuff like that.
Well, Leftovers.
Actually,
Leftovers.
that
one's nice. It wrapped up like that. They gave you every answer at the end of that show. Lost did not. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fun to watch those shows, but I don't have to play them. And that's the problem, is to me, like, playing a game sometimes can feel like I'm like doing something to earn a story beat. Whereas in television, I'm not. I can just sit down and watch. And like for example, if the Alan Wake 2 gameplay that I played was fun, but if it becomes a little slog and it's like, the same old garbage over and over and over, I don't want to keep playing it to hear the story beat, because I don't give a fuck.
Oh, Alan Wake 1 might be tough.
I've heard. So that to me is like, I hope that Alan Wake holds my interest enough. Otherwise, I'm just going to the wiki. So
yeah, you might backslide into like a YouTube cutscene compilation or something.
Right.
Which would probably be pretty intense at that rate. Yeah, one more thing that I was really curious about. One of the trailers did mention Mr. Scratch, but did you see anything about a different version of Alan Wake who's like a little bit crazy? Is there any acknowledgement of that there's like a twin running around in real life?
That is yet another thing I can't talk about.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yet another thing I can't talk about. I'm sorry, Lawrence.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Tease me. I like it.
It's just the fact that I'm saying I can't talk about it acknowledges that this exists, but I'm not going to tell you where.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the more wild things that happened in American Nightmare, I think, that has just gone uncommented on. A twin of Alan Wake burst into real life and was just like wilding out in a motel room for a while. Those games are bizarre, man. Yeah. You just kind of like listen to loud rock music. It's very, very Twin Peaks sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I hope I haven't ratcheted your anticipations up too high, but this is what I do to myself. I convince myself that something's going to be like way more novel and clever than it ends up being, and then I get bummed out.
I mean, I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2 looks like a really fun time. Yeah. And it was like creepy, and it had, some real good horror, some real good weird crazy imagery, some fun meta storylines and stuff like that. So if you really wanted to dive into it, I think it's there. Yeah, I was looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun.
Oh, one thing that I thought was interesting is in the sort of Q&A session before you got there, Sam Lake was commenting on how they had been trying pretty steadily over the last 10 plus years to get this game published. And I think it's worth calling out that Epic Games is the one publishing it. People have kind of disassociated. Yeah, nobody thinks about that. Nobody really like talks about it or acknowledges it. But I'm going to say, you don't have to like them, but they're the ones putting up the money to make Alan Wake 2. So that's pretty cool. And I'm down with that. Yeah.
That is something. They just laid a bunch of people off, but that's something.
Yeah, they did do that. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Bruce. I mean, so I don't know. We can get into that in a minute. I wanted to pick your brain about some larger industry trends.
Well, you want to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2?
Yeah, let's talk about Dragon's Dogma 2.
Before the industry, because you got to go to this and I was really jealous because I was like, oh, I really like this. I'm not into this, but Dragon's Dogma 2 looks like something I'd be super into. So
I think you'd really like it. It's very familiar, which means there's not that much to talk about, to be honest. It's very, very, very similar to Dragon's Dogma 1, which is a good thing. I actually really, really like Dragon's Dogma 1. You played Dragon's Dogma 1 a little bit, right, Bruce?
I played Dark Arisen a couple of months ago for my first time and enjoyed it. I mean, like, I actually I was like this game is like sort of for me because it's basically like you make AI do the stuff for you, which was all I ever wanted. So like if it's more of that, I'm in.
Have I got good news for you? Yes. The pawns are back, and they're smarmier and weirder than ever.
That's what I want.
Weird little dudes running around, picking stuff up, chatting, just always chatting.
Love it.
Come this way, Risen. Like, anyway, that part's still there. It's great. It's weird. I've never played a game that somehow nails that like Bethesda jank so well without actually just being a Bethesda game. But Dragon's Dogma did it, and it seems like Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to do it. Excuse me. There is, however, one standout feature, and I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do a little screen share here so that Bruce can see this amazing feature.
Okay, all right.
This game has the most succulent cooking that I may have ever seen.
Yeah, I heard that this was like a major feature of the game.
I have always been confused why food doesn't show up in games more often and more like prominently, because it's something everyone can relate to.
It's true.
And with video games, we can render food amazing. Anyway, here, Bruce, let me. I'll make sure that this runs at the same time on the podcast. And if you're listening, I'm sorry you won't be able to see this. Bruce, are you watching?
You got it? Yeah, I am watching. Yeah, go do it.
I'm gonna make camp here. It's time to sizzle.
I heard it was just like frying some food just looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like the most 4K tilt shifted pornographic shot of a chunk of food. I'm upselling it a lot. Here we go.
Oh my god, that looks amazing. Why does that look so good? What?
Do you see little drips? Oh my gosh, little sizzle drips. All right, I got one more for you.
That looks so good. What? That was like a Food Network B-roll.
Oh yeah, right? Once I learned that you could do that, that's all I spent the rest of the demo doing. Which is to say, it sizzled one more thing.
Oh my gosh. You can smell it.
Yeah, right?
You can. That's a video game?
That's a video game. And that's just like cooking 2 basic ingredients.
Wow. That looks amazing.
Genuinely, I mean, all I took away from playing Dragon's Dogma 2 for like 40 minutes is that it's Dragon's Dogma again, and it's got ridiculous cooking. I beat up a Cyclops, so that was cool.
Cool, man. That's what you should do in Dragon's Dogma, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of bumbling around in the dark. I went to this village, and they were like, "Oh my God, adventurer! Thank God you're here. There's lizard men everywhere. Oh, it's terrible." So I go in there, I kill all the lizard men. They're like, "Oh, adventurer! Oh my God, thank you so much. So pleasant and peaceful now. We can build a home, raise our families. Oh, there's lizard men in the cave, adventurer." So go in the cave, kill the lizard men, come back out. And the dude's like, "Adventurer, you're not going to believe this. There's lizard men in the town again." So just going to go kill lizard men. Like, "Oh, adventurer, thank you so much. Oh, thank you." And they're like stuffing plants in my pockets or something. I don't know. It's a good time. It's a good time.
They didn't say they're back in the cave after that, did they?
No, well, I didn't stick around long enough. The demo was up.
Okay, good. All right.
I kind of like got away from the village leader. I was like, okay, yeah, okay, have fun. So I could go back to the camp spot and cook more meat.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no... Lizard men can wait. You got to cook some food.
Exactly. I want to see that sizzle. So, yeah, I'm excited to play more Dragon's Dogma just so I can like tick my way down the cooking list. It's funny you mentioned like story cutscenes and stuff and kind of earning that stuff. To me, just seeing like a 2-second clip of a 4K pornographic shot of video game food, that's my payoff now. That's all I exist to see.
Absolutely. Of course. That looked amazing.
I've been tracking it. Final Fantasy 15 had the crown, video game food until now. And I'm ready to hand it off to Dragon's Dogma 2. It just has to come out.
That looks like maybe because I think like I even read other articles of people saying this was like the best food they'd ever seen in any video game.
Oh yeah, it's making the rounds.
Yeah.
Okay, Bruce, I'm curious about this. We had a happening, a moment, a portent. Valve released a game, Counter-Strike 2. I saw you playing it.
I played it. It is Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's super smooth. I'm not good at Counter-Strike. I never have been. I've been playing it for 20 years. on and off. Like I haven't played Counter-Strike in probably like 3 or 4 years, but yeah, I mean, it felt great. I think you'd have to go to some pro to find out what the differences are between Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike 2. Like some dude who plays Counter-Strike, 10 hours a day and has been playing it for 15 years. Because he would probably be like, oh, the tick rate's bad, or like, like the cursor's off or whatever. The major thing that I found was just the same with Counter-Strike is that I just don't know the spread of the guns. So like I would aim at the head, click, and it'd be like, pew, pew, shoot by their head, hit them in the body, and they kind of like tank it. And then every time I round the corner, all I hear is one gunshot, and I'm dead. Like it was just like playing Counter. Like it was one of those things where like there's some magic I have not learned in Counter-Strike that other people have. Because I tell you what, I was getting single shot headshotted 60% of the time, Lawrence. I mean, like, and this is like around the corner. I didn't stop or anything. I just walked by, and then like it's just, and that was it, and I was done. There was never a gun battle.
Yeah, it's never a knife fight, right? It's never a dog fight. It's never nothing. It's just bat, bat, and you're dead. And
I think that's the whole point of Counter-Strike is that's you can be good at it like that and get 3, 4, 5 people down just with single shot headshots.
You've got to have a different brain, right? It's just different brain, built different.
You're just playing. You just play a lot. That's it. Like you know where to aim. You know where the first or second shot of the gun is going to come out. You know where to pre-fire. Like there's lots of stuff that. And also, like to me, this is very much like Call of Duty because if like Modern Warfare 3 is coming out and there's going to be a bunch of old maps, right? In Modern Warfare 3, same with Counter-Strike 2.
It's like
there's
all old maps, right? Didn't they say that? It's just like just the oldies.
Mainly, they added 2 new maps, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
But the old maps, the people have been playing these old maps for 15 years every day. What am I going to do? It's just some random dude with a MP5 being like, okay, I'll spray a little, and then one single shot to the head, and then I'm
Zap.
So
you got to keep playing until your matchmaking rating goes in the dirt. You got to get in there with the toddlers and the stoners. That's where it's chill, sort of. It's never really chill, is it? COD?
No.
Is Counter-Strike ever chill?
Counter-Strike, no, is never chill. It's always sweaty.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just we played casual. About getting one shot, man. It makes me pissed off.
It's no fun. I mean, like it's not. I don't. That's the reason I like Battlefield. Is because I don't get one shotted in Battlefield.
Yeah.
I have a chance to get shot and be like, oh fuck, I got shot, and I sit behind cover, heal myself, and then strategize as to what I'm going to do next. Unless you get hit by a tank or a helicopter or something in Battlefield, and then you go, okay, well, what one ups a tank, a helicopter? Well, one ups a helicopter, a jet, like that sort of thing. So, you don't do that in Counter-Strike. It's either you pulled the trigger and got that one single shot headshot, or you didn't. So
yeah, I guess the nearest I could come to understanding it is that it's almost like baseball. It's like a cat and mouse. You're basically betting what the other team's going to do.
Yes,
and you try to take your advantages by assuming and like pre-positioning and all that sort of thing. But if you don't know that stack, like if you don't know that hierarchy, you're just going to get worked. Or rather, it's like 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in a disadvantageous battle and not even know it. And that's kind of what it feels like to play Counter-Strike for me. Is like, there's always an uphill battle, but I don't know where the hill is or how to climb it.
Right. No, you don't. You don't know what to do to get better.
It's just aim trainers, right? And then doing those weird maps where you're like hopping on platforms and stuff.
Sure. I mean, that'll help. I think that'll help. But it's just about practice. It's just playing a lot.
I wish you could put like a Neuralink, just stab it into somebody's brain that's good at Counter-Strike so that I can see the board light up when they shoot someone. Because I want validation that it's fun for somebody. It's got to be fun for them, right? If I'm volunteering fun into the internet, somebody else is better be sucking it up, or it's just a complete waste.
Well, I mean, like, watch Shroud. Like, watching Shroud play first-person shooters like Counter-Strike, something that he's been good at for 10 years, is just, like, otherworldly. He's a god. Like, it's like, he just doesn't fuck up. And, like, not only does he not fuck up, then he's out there, just 3K'ing, 5K'ing people. It doesn't matter. It's just like over and over and over. And he just knows what he's doing. What I want to see, much like the Neuralink, I want to see a list of the things that are going into somebody's head as they're executing them, because I don't know what the decision process is. So I don't know if he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go towards A. I'm gonna round these two corners. I'm gonna stop here, look here, shoot here because of this. Like I need to know the reasoning, otherwise I'll never get good at this. Because this game isn't like a come up with your own strategy. Because everyone has the same strategy. It's all about the execution. So
I want to know what my tells are, or maybe I don't even need them. Maybe I'm just like tripping over myself and stumbling and coughing really loud, and then they just know where to shoot me.
They just, I mean, I don't know. Maybe for me, it's maybe just play slower. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
That's just like the number one thing I always think is like, I'm just like, Bruce, stop being in front. Just stand behind someone. That's it.
Yeah, that gets me in Halo all the time. It's a sit back game. You have to wait for other people to overcommit, so it's like a patience thing. But I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. I play video games to do.
Yeah, me too.
Which is like, it's very satisfying, but also has made me a little more aware, I think, of... Even in life, I think I'm a little too reactive. Like there are times when, and I've talked about this before, where you can just do nothing. And I don't know. I'm not used to doing nothing being an option. So in a way, I can take that back into games and remind myself, sometimes you can just observe and let things play out. And if you wait, things can get better.
I think it's really helpful in a game like Counter-Strike. I think it's really helpful to watch other people on your team go do something that you would have done and see how they do it versus like run ahead and die. Because like if you're the first one out, then you're probably going to get single shot headshotted. And if you don't, you're going to take some damage and you're going to drop back. You probably did a little bit of damage, hopefully, to the team. And then someone else is going to walk up and get your kill. So you want to be the opposite of that. You want someone to go up, absorb damage, do a little damage. They'll drop back. You rotate with them. Then you go up and get the kill. That's sort of what you want there. If you're not good at a first-person shooter like Shroud.
Damn.
Like, because I'm not.
You just kind of described like a MOBA rotation, the way that players will... Yeah, damn.
Well, that's how Overwatch works. Overwatch is a rotation. So it's like people run up, they like build ult, do damage. As soon as they're about to die, they rotate back. The rest of their team should fill in. And then and it's just this circle moving around the map. That's what it's supposed to look like, I think, from like, again, I'm not a pro, but this is like from what I've observed and gathered. Or you just be really perfect at Counter-Strike and get the single shot headshot every time. Do that too.
Easy trade. There's so many times when I'm like, okay, I'm going to run away this time. I'm not going to die. I'm going to disengage properly. It almost never works. I don't know what it is about me. People stick on me and then I'm dead. And it's so disheartening because it's like, I'm trying to play smart and it's not working.
They smell blood in the water. That's because they know they hit you a couple times. They did like 60 damage and they're like, I hit this guy one more time, he's going down. Because that's what happens to me every time. It's always like I'm like, whoa, I gotta run. I know, and then they just chase me around the corner because they know.
Yeah, they just bulldog you down. You're just praying that your teammate's there, but he's looking at his phone. Oh no,
it's long gone. Yeah, he's fucking hitting the bong.
Man, well, speaking of hitting a bong, Unity CEO really got thrashed around. Made some bad decisions.
Yeah.
So this is kind of linked to another thing I wanted to talk. Well, a couple other things I wanted to talk about, but let's tiptoe through it. So I think at this point the Unity drama's calmed down a little bit, at least in terms of the online furor. Certainly the rattling of people's faith will continue. You can't undo that. You can't unring that bell. But let's see here. At current, I have a little quote here from a report in the New York Times, actually, kind of commenting on the current state of things. So the current agreement, the compromise that's on the table now, the revenue threshold for games will be the revenue threshold for games that will have this per install fee. That was the thing that kicked all this drama off, is they said there'd just be blanket per installation fees. They basically raised that threshold, so now ostensibly only the larger developers will be charged. But apparently they're still not saying publicly where that line is.
Oh, they're not. Oh, that's weird.
I mean, they're never going to, because it'll probably change. And they also don't want their clients individually knowing what they think large is, I would guess.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the crux of it. the developers can choose to pay the per installation fee or 2.5% of their company's monthly revenue, whichever is lower. So I think the core there is it allows companies to budget on a maximum floor that a ceiling rather, that they'll potentially pay, and then they can scale a business off of that, knowing what their costs will maximize out to 2.5% or this installation fee. So you have a worst case scenario that you can at least plan against. That makes sense. But still, I don't know, before I move on, because this, I think it's a little easy to just say like Unity bad and then sit cross your arms and like nod your head. I didn't know if you had any sentiments to add on the Unity situation. I was just going to connect it to a couple of other things, but
yeah, so in the case that anybody's listening to this and doesn't know what this is, Unity's been handing out their engine for free for years and years and years. They've been letting game developers make games in Unity for free for who knows, 10 years, 15 years? I don't even know.
About 10? Man, good question.
Yeah, a very long time. And just a few weeks ago, the Unity CEO was like, "It's over, guys. Now we're going to charge you for every time anytime anybody installs your game." And they were like, "What?" So like people were making free games in Unity to distribute on Steam for free.
Yeah.
And then this new fee would force them to pay a fee on when somebody installs their game, even if their game is free.
Yeah.
Which is
put
insane.
them underwater, basically.
Yeah, that's insane. This is John Riccitiello, the previous CEO of EA, one of the shittiest CEOs in the video game business, absolutely, by a long shot. So, here's the way I look at this. It's good that they're like, okay, well, at least if you make money, now you have to pay us a fee, but only if you make money. I appreciate that. That's something that they should have done. They should have started out with. And I'll go even further back, and this is you should have done it type of thing. But they never should have started their business by giving it to everybody for free. It should have been like as close to free as possible, but making just a little bit of money. Because what they've been doing is living on venture capital, living on angel investors, and this never works. It doesn't. There's no such thing. It will run a business for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, sometimes 20, whatever. But the chickens always come home to roost every time. And it always screws with the customers. It always screws with business to business relationships. Again, Cory Doctorow calls this enshittification, where you get everybody hooked on your product because it's free. It's a really great product. And then all of a sudden they're like, now we're charging you up the ass. That's what's happening with Netflix and every other streamer right now. Netflix is doubling their price. Disney is doubling their price. Yeah, because now they have to make money in an economy that's not great. And this happens every 10 to 15 years. Our economy goes through cycles, so it's always going to be the same thing. So instead, make a good business from the start. Like that's the thing, and that's why it's such a bummer. Is that like. Now everyone's worried about developing a game on Unity, and they should be, because you don't know what they're going to do. In 10 years' time, they could be like, okay, well, we're doubling the fee. Or in 1 year's time, they could be, we're doubling the fee. And then you just spent 5 years making a game on Unity. You're fucked. So to me, I know it's really easy for me to say, well, you should have done it. They wouldn't have the same market penetration if they hadn't had their product for free for years. But maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe instead they should have made a good business before trying to fuck everybody over, after 10 years of free product.
Yeah.
So.
I guess if we're talking about the world of business to business, it's up to their clients then to do those interrogations and say like, wait a minute, is your economy sustainable? And the partners, that's the thing that gets me, is that it was pretty well known that that's what Unity was doing, was burning budget to get market share. They never posted a profit. So it's not like this was a secret, but it was a surprise. And that's what sucks. Yeah. That's the really shitty thing about it. I guess my takeaway, and this is informed by, living with Steph and seeing her role in the games industry in communications roles. I am I've paid more attention than ever to communications and how important they are, because this is a golden example of everything done wrong. They announced these rules with no backup information publicly, and none of their clients knew. Why they didn't have direct meetings with the clients whose terms would change, and that's it, baffles me. Yeah. I think part of it might be is since they were burning money, Bruce, like they only had good news for people for so long. I think they got used to everyone liking what they had to say, maybe.
Yep.
So they think we're the good guy. So when we announce this thing, they'll be like, oh, Unity, we understand. Didn't work out that way. So yeah, if the communications had been done differently, which doesn't, I don't mean to sound like I'm blaming anyone in particular, because
course, yeah.
I'm sure Unity has a communications officer, and these things can be tweeted out for any number of reasons. So, but yeah, if that had been done right at the right time, I was reflecting on this actually, how Starfield is, I think, a great example of communications done right, which is to say it made everyone happy. Well, mostly. But I was thinking about how, like, when they dropped the bomb that it would only be 30 FPS on console, they did it right after the Direct. It was like so surgical, and no one cared because that Direct had really good music and everybody was vibing. So everybody's like, oh, it's fine. Like, man, I'd never seen gamers do that. But Bethesda's comms team did it. They navigated it. They landed the ship. Good for them. But yeah, Unity, maybe rethink your comms plan, please. Now, okay, so yeah, Unity, everybody hates them because they're not subsidizing a studio for the rest of the industry anymore. That sounded awfully dismissive. Sorry, I know Unity's enemy number one. But anyway, yeah, they're not giving out their tools for free. But here's the thing. All right, what I like to do in the podcast is mention all the games coming up. So here's what's coming up in October.
Okay.
We got Assassin's Creed Mirage, Forza Motorsport, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, City Skylines 2, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, Ghost Runner 2.
Woo.
That's just in October.
What a month.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna conclude all this in just a minute. I watched Realms Deep. It's the showcase for 3D Realms.
Yeah.
They're a subsidiary of Saber Interactive, which is a subsidiary of Embracer.
That's right.
It was 3.5 hours long.
Holy shit.
And I want to say it had upwards of 40 to 50 games in it.
That's great.
All being published through 3D Realms, which is one of many publishing entities under Saber and also Embracer. Okay, so we have like enough games coming out next month that would traditionally fill like a whole holiday release season. 2023 itself has been stacked. Even at the AA level at 3D Realms, there's just scads of games being made. And this is across all kinds of genres. We're not talking about just games that are chasing trends and trying to make money. This is just like full artistic vibrancy going on. Okay, now, I think we can all agree that there's way more games than any of us can like ingest as games consumers.
Of course.
So, is it weird then that, like, surely somewhere the flow has to get pinched, right? Unless I just don't understand market forces, but it feels like games are being overproduced. So how can we expect this is my Jokerized take, by the way. I'm flipping into Red Pill Gamer
of Unity.
Yeah, of Unity.
Jokerized take of Unity, yeah.
How can we expect, and even like just from a market perspective, should Unity even be subsidizing cheap game tools to make more games that people don't have the time to play and probably not the money to buy? Like it's money getting pumped into the production of things that surely can't be profitable on the tail end of it. And is that that those are studios destined to fold then? And they're relying on the subsidized tools of another industry that's burning money to get into the industry. So it's all just like house cards, man. I don't think it's going to lead to a crash, but an adjustment maybe.
Oh, there'll be an adjustment. I saw somebody talking about how there's going to be another video game crash, and there won't be, but there definitely will be an adjustment. Do you want my Jokerized answer, or do you want my regular answer?
Well, let me see. You're always very what's the word? Empathetic when discussing like industry and work and money and stuff like that. So when I say Jokerized, I'm kind of like empathy cut, like business. where
Yeah.
the money flows and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of Jokerized, Bruce, what's your Jokerized take on this?
So my Jokerized answer is absolutely. We need to not make so many games, because we are giving a bunch of people a year or two of employment, and then they're going to be out on their ass again after a year and two, like all those studios fold, like you're talking about. Because like there's a bunch of games that everyone's like, well, I got all this VC, we're going to make a bunch of games. As long as the game makes $100 million, we'll be fine. And it's not going to make $100 million, right? So like everyone knows, well, we got to rotate to another job probably pretty soon here because the studio's going to fold. That, in my opinion, is not a sustainable job market. It's really bad for everybody, and it's bad for morale. It's bad for everyone. You know, you're going to see it all over Twitter how Embracer shut down a bunch of other studios and EA shut down a bunch of other studios and all this other stuff. So yes, I think that like my Jokerized take is we should not make so many games that are not good businesses, because I think it's going to make a lot of people unhappy. But that's not my take. That's just the devil's advocate Jokerized take. My take is the more art, the better. I always advocate for more art. I think that more YouTube videos, more Twitch streams, more video games, more movies, more television, because it's best for the consumer. And I'll say along the lines of my Jokerized take here with the empathy involved, I think that this is going to sound stupid, but people that are making video games, developers, publishers, executives at those companies, all the way down to the lowest level artist, they have to be aware of the business that they're in. They have to. And it's really hard. The number one thing that I heard, Lawrence, you heard this so much, Machinima, and I hated it, which was, you guys make the content. You let us worry about the distribution. And I was like, that's total bullshit. That's always the wrong move, because not everyone is looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. So when you're out there making video games and you are, you know, a level artist or, like I said, the lowest level designer, and, you know, you hear people talk about like how they just made a bunch of money on VC, or like your fucking CEO just bought 4 houses or whatever. Perk up. Think about that. Be like, what? Wait a minute. Hold on. Is he blowing our money on houses, or is he reinvesting it into our business so that we can sustain another game release so that I have a job in 5 years? And I know that sucks to think about it that way, but you really do. You can't just go and be an artist. I'm sorry. I wish that every day I wish that I could just wake up and be like, I want to make what I want to make. But it's not a real thing. So if you're going to make things that are consumable by the general public, then you have to think about how it's going, like how these terrible decisions executives are making are going to affect you.
Yeah.
So
it's funny you bring that up. Rather thinking about larger contexts, I was reminded of a quote from the cancellation of Hyenas. Creative Assembly canceled Hyenas, laid off the whole team apparently. There was some quotes tumbling out from that team where people on that team were like, we were telling them this was the stupidest idea ever, making this game with like a skeleton crew in an overcrowded market, and they wouldn't listen. And here we are 5 years into the project canned or something like that. I was trying to find the quote, like
the quotes.
Yeah. I'll poke around and see if I can find it, but yeah, I mean, that exact situation's played out, unfortunately. And yeah, Bruce, and boy, do I know exactly what you talk about. Where like, you'd like to think if you show an interest in the health of the business that somebody would be excited to share it with you, especially if it's a healthy business. But maybe that's the tell. Don't worry about that. Let me handle that. Yeah, that's the 80s businessman answer, and that's never a good one.
That's a good point, actually. That is the tell. Because if they're like, oh no, don't worry about the business, you just keep making content. Or you keep making a video game and you're like, wait a minute. If the business was successful, they would tell us. If they were at a 50% profit margin, they'd be like, yeah, we just made $50 million in profit last year. We're doing great. And the worst part about that is they won't even tell you if they made 50 million in profit. You know why? Because then you go, well, I want a piece of that 50 million.
Yeah, right.
And they go, well, no, that's only for the executives. So that's what I mean. Just keep your ear to the ground. Just like, you don't need to know business. Like, I didn't go to a business school or any of that shit. Just keep your ear to the ground. Listen to what your bosses are saying, because you'll get a sense for what you're doing and where you're at, where the business is at by how they're talking.
Yeah, I think that's what really stings here is that this is like full entertainment capitalism come home to roost in games, which is there's no shortage of money flowing around. It's just all concentrating in the biggest companies that make the slickest products and have honed that over years. So, there's shooters being made left and right every day, but they don't make the money Call of Duty does. And even if there's a team out there that had a bold and inspired vision and made some art, that money just still gets siphoned up into the Call of Duty machine and pads out Bobby Kotick's fourth gold-plated Corvette. So, I guess that's the grand tragedy we're seeing. I think for a long time there was a strong correlation in games between financial success and game quality, and even maybe artistic merit. That may be going a little far, but I think we're really seeing now that there's big, dumb, too big to fail franchises that are just going to hoover up a lot of the money, and then the rest is just kind of the play space of the artists and auteurs. And not all of them are going to make the money they maybe deserve, and that's just the way of things.
Right. It just sucks.
We all get to sit back and watch it happen.
Yeah. It's it's part of life. It's not.
Yeah.
The video games industry is relatively new compared to movies and television. And the movies and television industry has been working like that for as long as they've been around. So, you just think of all the exploitation of early movies of where they had the actors at Warner Brothers, and these actors would make 50 movies in a year or whatever, and they'd pay them $100 a movie.
Yeah.
And that's because they're like, well, you're just lucky to have a job.
Yeah. Pump them full of drugs.
And guess what? They formed SAG-AFTRA. That's the reason they formed unions, is because they were getting fucked. So that's what's happening in video games, is that people are forming unions, which is terrific.
Yeah. So. And they authorized a strike. I don't know if SAG is going to go on strike in games.
Yeah.
But just based on the misproportion or the disproportion of the revenue, the fact that it does kind of get absorbed by a lot of executives, and that there is a lot of profits and it's not necessarily getting circulated around. Hell yeah. Get more of that pie. I'm down with that.
Me too.
I'm wondering how a SAG strike will affect games production. I guess I'm going to get a lot more JRPGs. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
A lot more influencers doing acting.
Well, wouldn't they be scabs, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. If they asked me to do that, I'd be like, nah.
No,
we're good.
You wouldn't do it under pseudonym, Bruce? You wouldn't put on a fake nose and
do a fake voice? Hello. Yeah. My name is Bruce.
There's this mysterious newcomer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got it.
I forget who I was talking. I was talking to somebody that was saying this was that strike will push things back years. It's really, really bad if they can't get voice talent in video games early on, because they do that kind of stuff early. So if they don't get that, and it's going to lay a lot of games that we like. Imagine GTA 6, right? If they're still doing voice acting for that, man, that's going to get delayed even more. GTA,
yeah. I guess I can see the really big ones that really lean on actual performance. But I wonder if game studios just swept in whoever was willing to scab. I wonder if the consumer's discerning enough to care about performance in most games. Something like GTA, yes. And then I guess you have Megan Fox in Mortal Kombat. People say she's not so great. I haven't gotten to that yet. Oh man.
Oh yeah, she's not. Yeah.
And she's probably in the guild, right? So I guess
probably. Yeah.
But I wonder, because if performances like that can make it into retail games, or still do, then I don't know. Your average bombastic streamer can probably phone in something about that level, right?
It's probably not going to be as good as a professional voice actor, but it'll be something.
Maybe we'll roll it on back to the aughts, like a lot of people want.
I don't.
When the games were good, Bruce, right? They were finished and done.
Yeah, yeah, right. When everybody remembers, every game was perfect in 2003.
Nothing glitched.
Nothing ever glitched. It didn't take me 15 minutes to load one Battlefield map. That never happened.
Ah.
I think that whichever influencer ends up taking a part in a game that was struck for SAG-AFTRA, they're going to get crucified. Absolutely crucified.
Just
So,
the first one though.
Lawrence, don't be that.
I'll just be number
influencer.
2. No, they'll all be mad at that person, and I'll be in the booth crushing it.
Just make sure make sure your voice is disguised, and then
It's
also
called
make sure
acting, Bruce.
you're not in the credits. So use your middle name, and just do Alan Smithy. just do a pseudonym because you're gonna get crucified. I think it's gonna be real bad.
That's a good point. You can't really build a career scabbing over a strike, can you?
No,
But in games, maybe. I don't know, man. Games production is sleazy, and some people don't give a shit.
it can be. Yeah, you're right.
I guess if you're just always doing non-union roles, but that might be enough to make a living. Maybe not, though.
That is one thing that I guess you could just go and look for non-union work. If the video game's non-union, you're good. So,
Real video game voiceover bad boy. No, I can't do that, actually. I have tangible benefits from the guild sitting on my desk right now.
oh,
The Genlock royalties.
oh yeah, that's right.
I
Lawrence is
wasn't a
famous
Rooster
voice
Teeth
actor.
employee season 2, so they had to pay me, which is
Lawrence
awesome.
is a famous voice actor.
Yeah. Acted
in,
alongside David Tennant.
Michael B. Jordan
Yeah. Maisie Williams. We text each other a lot.
an anime. You worked on an anime called Genlock for, and you
It was on
said
Adult Swim.
because you weren't a Rooster Teeth employee. What was it? What was the weird loophole?
Like, since I wasn't an employee, they basically had to pay me as an external contractor. And since it was a union project, that meant I was guaranteed certain rates and guaranteed certain things like royalties. I haven't made a dime off of Genlock season 1 because I was an employee then. And I think they paid me 1.5 hours of Texas state minimum wage. And
I remember it was
that's
like $8.50 or some shit, right?
It was like $12, but with taxes taken out, it was less than 10. Which is
But now you're getting royalties.
Yeah, it's a fraction of one single royalty check that I just got. And then
That's so great.
they pay me a royalty for each episode, Bruce. It's not just one for the season. What the fuck, man? So yeah,
I
I'm
love it.
pro-union now, man. All day
love
workers' rights.
Man, I am so excited for you, Lawrence, because I remember you showed me that Genlock check and you're like $13 or so, whatever it was. And I was like, holy shit, they are fleecing you. And then now you're fleecing them.
Yeah, it worked out.
That's
Good
great.
job, unions. Get that money out of David Zaslav or whatever. Is he still? Yeah, he's still at Warner, huh?
Oh yeah, he's still absolutely. Oh, he's going to be there for a year or two at least.
I guess, yeah, he's
unless he
been
runs that
slashing.
place into the fucking ground. Yeah, no, because I mean he's going to probably end up making them money because he's laying everybody off.
Well, usually what you do is you have a patsy get up, do all the layoffs, and then you ask them to step down, so the golden CEO can get up and run the profitable phase, right? That could be you, Bruce, and then you
Me?
can get me more VO work, huh?
I'll make sure we only pay you that 1.5 hours of Texas state minimum wage, but
Sold.
you do get
Oh.
your royalty check. You get your royalty checks though. So
As long as Abel is the main character of season 3, we're bringing it back, right?
I don't even know who that is. I'm not sure. I mean, not that I know any characters in Genlock, but
Fan favorite Abel. Everyone knows Abel. Yeah, all the merch of it. I've got Bruce. I have a whole closet full of merch. It's gonna be worth something someday. I actually don't think he appears on anything.
well, probably not.
I have to check. I have to look up a poster or something. Anyway, I think that'll wrap up the Gamescast for this month. Woo! There's a lot coming out. Man,
This is a big month, man.
Yeah.
Big month.
and it's just getting started. Thank you all very much for watching or listening. However you did it, appreciate it. Check out that sizzle, though. I promise you won't regret it. That Dragon's Dogma meat sizzle. Whew.
Oh, it looks so good.
We'll see you next month, everybody.